My fellow flames of amethyst, ancient marks, the items within Black Beacon that are going to be able to transcend your character's power beyond their limits and are going to make your characters go from good to godly. The relic / gear system that is going to be available to you within the world of Black Beacon, and today I am going to explain to you how to obtain them and how exactly they work. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful and informative, I'd appreciate the like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. Without further ado, let's get into this. So, the first question is, how do we access the Ancient Mark system in the first place? Well, when you level up your character to level 60 or above, you're going to click Develop, and you're going to click the Ancient Mark tab, which is going to be available to you once your character hits level 60. Then you are going to see a table. This is where you're going to slot in and basically place down your Ancient Marks in different sequences to get different substats and different Ancient Mark effects. You're going to get Ancient Marks through the endgame content, but if you haven't completed chapter 3 of the story, you're going to unlock Ancient Marks through the seer levels. Each time you level up through your seer levels, there's going to be a point where you're going to be able to obtain yourselves a couple of Ancient Marks, which is going to give you a bit of a head start before getting to the end game. Each Ancient Mark is going to start out blue, then you're going to ascend them to purple, then you can ascend them to gold. How do you ascend them, you ask? Well, you're going to get 2 Ancient Marks of the same rarity and of the same type. For instance, I can't put this Winding Path Ancient Mark and combine it with this Thread Mark. They're 2 different marks, but if you want 2 Thread Marks with 2 different substats and combine them together, you can. For example, I'm going to level up this Thread Mark, and I'm also going to attach this Thread Mark, which also has crit rate. So when I fuse these 2 together, each individual one has a crit damage stat and a crit rate stat. When I fuse them together, it's going to give me the purple Thread Mark, and it's going to have both of those stats equipped. So when I click level up, it's going to give me the purple Thread Mark, which is going to have both of those substats that the 2 blue ones had. When you have 2 purple Ancient Marks of the same type and same rarity, you can fuse them again, it's going to combine the substats, it's going to give you the gold. There are different kinds of Ancient Marks within the game. You've got 1 costs, 3 costs, 5 costs, and 10 costs. You get the 5 and the 10 costs through the end game, but you can get 1 and 3 costs through seer level upgrades. 5 costs and 10 costs have their specific special ability, if you will. For instance, if I hover over this 5 cost called the Jade's Crane, it's going to give me a 5% ultimate boost to the wielder. Now, when you go over to your characters, they're going to give you recommendations for Ancient Marks. You don't have to follow the recommendations. It's more of a guideline to get the best possible marks for your characters possible and put them together. For instance, I'm going to click on here. The Endless March and the Phoenix Tail are the 2 best Ancient Marks for Florence. I've chosen against the Endless March because I personally prefer Nourishing Wings, which is going to give my Florence this perk here. Each time the wielder loses HP, they gain a 4% crit rate bonus, stacking up to 3 times. Now, when I get the Nourishing Wings to gold, that 4% is going to go to 5%, giving the maximum potential of crit hit bonus 15%. How do you get Ancient Marks outside the seer level? Well, when you complete chapter 3 of the main story, you're going to go over to Start, you're going to go over to Explore, and you're going to click on the Tome of Fate game mode. This is one of the end game modes. The best way I can explain it is the Depths of Elusive Realm fused with Simulated Universe. Those who play those 2 gacha games of Wuthering Waves and HSR, you will know what those 2 endgames are, and you can kind of understand what a love child of those 2 game modes would look like. This is that. This is that. First, it's going to take you through the story, then you're going to click Explore. Every single time you complete one of these exploration Tome of Fate events, they're going to give you either an Ancient Mark of different types. For instance, this is going to give you the Ring Not Ancient Mark. This one is going to give you the Thread Mark, and number 3 is going to give you the Winding Path Mark. The more you beat Tome of Fate, you're going to basically get access to these things called the Chests of Fate. You can open these Chests of Fate by converting your stamina to these things called Key of Karmas. Key of Karmas is going to allow you to open the Chests of Fate, and the Chests of Fate is going to give you a 3-cost Ancient Mark, and it's also going to give you things called the Seals of Fate. The Seals of Fate is going to be the currency which is going to enable you to buy Ancient Marks. Click the store, and as you can see, You can buy every single ancient mark in the entire game for a different cost. 10 costs are going to be the most expensive at 300 per mark, then you're going to have the 5 cost at 160 per mark, and then you're going to have the 3 costs at 100 per mark, and then you're going to have the 1 cost for 35 per mark. You're not going to need these. You are not going to need the original text mark, because this is just going to be a worst case scenario if you've built your ancient mark table in a certain way and there's one little thing that you can't fill in because there's no room to put your 3 costs or above. Then of course put your original text in there, but I would recommend finding a way to put your 3, 5s, and 10 costs in perfect sequence without having an outstanding slot for you to put an original text in. They're not the best. It's a last resort in case you need it. As I said earlier, different ancient marks of the 5 cost and the 10 cost have their own ability. 3 costs are just substat. They're just substat holders, but they are still very, very useful. You can only have 1 10 cost in for each character. You can't have you can't have more than 1 10 cost ancient mark, but you can have a 10 cost and 2 5 costs, and then whatever you have left, you can mix around your 3 costs to get the best possible. Specific ancient marks and specific ancient mark effects are going to be catered to certain characters within the Black Beacon roster. For instance, this 5 cost ancient mark called the Phoenix Tail is going to grant the wielder a 3% increase in derived damage. Now, the current limited banner character Florence excels in derived damage, as her enhanced skills and her ultimate deals derived damage to the enemy. So you're going to want to attain this Phoenix Tail ancient mark and equip it to your Florence, since it's going to buff her derived damage even further. But obviously each character requires different things. For instance, you're going to want to build Lai Chi for HP specifically because he excels and stacks off of his maximum HP. So you're going to go to his ancient mark table. You're going to click ancient mark recommendations. These are the 3 recommended stats. These are the 2 recommended ancient marks. Oh, he needs HP, crit rate, and crit damage. Okay, then I'm going to equip this thread mark that we built earlier because it has crit damage and crit rate. Those are 2 of his recommended stats, therefore I'm going to put that in. And obviously you're going to want to find the dragon essence, and you're going to want to find the nourishing wings, because these 2 are the best in slot 10 cost ancient marks or 5 cost ancient marks for that specific character. As far as I'm concerned, you can only attain ancient marks through the Tome of Fate. You can continue to attain them through your Seer's level, and I haven't played the multiverses endgame mode yet because I haven't completed chapter 4. So I don't know if you can attain ancient marks within multiverse, but Tomb of Fate is going to be the best way to attain ancient marks within the game. Now, I tried to explain this as best I possibly can based on my knowledge of it. Also, before we end here, when you go to your ancient marks, you can disassemble ancient marks for a refund. For instance, if you have a doggy doo-doo ancient mark that has a terrible substat, you can disassemble it and get a refund for Seals of Fate. However, it won't give you the exact value that ancient mark is worth. So be wise on what you dismantle, and be wise and be careful not to dismantle the wrong ancient mark. What you can also do is that you can also re-engrave ancient marks. Re-engraving is going to essentially replace substats. You can replace substats with different ones. However, this is going to cost you a currency of these chisel things here. Now, you can get these chisels for free through the free-to-play battle pass. You can get a maximum of 4 through the battle pass, and then you can get an additional 6 when you buy the premium battle pass. So you're going to get a total cost of 10 when you buy the premium battle pass, and you obtain them through the free to play and the premium battle pass. The fact that you can re-roll substats for free in this game is insane. This system is probably the best gear system in any gacha game that I have played, and I've played multiple. I've played HSR, I've played Dokkan Battle, Legends, Genshin Impact, Wuthering Waves, ZZZ, and I honestly do believe that Black Beacon's gear system is the best gear system possible. I do believe that it is the best gear system possible. The fact that you can just re-roll substats, you can get the currency for free to do that. You can level them up in certain ways to mix and match different substats together to get the best rarity of your relic possible. Very free to play friendly. and there is no hard grinding. Obviously there is grinding to an extent, but not to the extent of hunting for echoes, or not to the extent of going through dungeons for relic farming. Like, this is really, really cool, and I very much like this. I hope I've explained this to you in the best way possible. I don't think I've missed anything out. If I have, I'll leave it pinned in the comment section. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll speak to you guys in the next one, and yeah, hopefully this video helps.